When we got to Croydon Airport, there was the airport building, of course, which is still there to this day. You went in, it was quite a small booking hall, and there were the booking counters, which always had magnificent models of current aircraft. We would then presumably climb stairs and finish on the control tower roof. That was the public viewing area. You could look down on the aircraft being loaded. The passengers would just go up sort of gangplanks onto the aircraft. I started to take quite an interest in aircraft. This sort of preceded the railway interest. But what I well remember was the Paris planes loading right in front of us. There was GAA-XC, which was a de Havilland 42 called Heracles, I think it was, and then there was GAA-XD, which was Horatius. They were the two which we saw regularly on the Paris run loading of a Sunday. Sometimes it was the short aircraft, which were two, Scylla and Shrinks. They were the two which we saw regularly loading. I've got a feeling I have seen a Lufthansa loading. I remember the airlines, which was KLM and Sabina. I remember the DC-2 as a type. Now, I don't know what knowledge I had as a result of going to Croydon Airport and then, what should we say, getting information about the aircraft and not necessarily having seen them. I think I have seen a DC-2. I think I have seen a Sabina. But what I particularly remember was the HP-42s and the short, because they were big four-propeller planes. And again, there was a series of cigarette cards at the time and showing these aircraft in flight and the internal arrangements of all the people in their luxurious saloons enjoying their luncheon on the way to Paris. I remember being in the garden at Streatham one day and one went over right quite low and I looked at it and I thought, it's Hanno. And another thing I remember from the garden at Streatham was Caledonia, a C-class flying boat, which flew over London. And that was the only time I ever saw a C-class flying boat. But I knew all about them. I used to cut the cuttings out of the newspaper and keep them, and I knew all the class, I knew all their names, and I knew all their registrations, and I used to keep quite an interest in them. And the first one was Canopus, which I always called it Canopus, other people called it Canopus, but that was GADHL. Caledonia, which was the second one, was GADHM, and that was the one I saw fly over the garden at Streatham one day. Oh, we used to do tours of the hangars. This was another thing that used to happen of a Sunday. We'd do tours of the hangars. And on one occasion, there'd been a Lufthansa had crashed on the perimeter of the airport and demolished some houses, I think. And when we went round the hangars, totally different to what would happen today, we were shown the remains of one of the engines sitting in there.